welcome on a Friday. It's Unemployed with Mike Schaefer, and that means it's a Feedback Friday. We've got Jack Mitchell here, as we do on Fridays. And look, there are no shortage of things for us to dive into, but it feels like it's going to be kind of a basketball-heavy show. So before we get into that, I have some questions for one Jack Mitchell. Jack, if you were an aspiring high school football star that lived in Lincoln and you didn't want to go to Lincoln East, what school would you have transferred to in like 1991?
Am I okay? Questions about the hypothetical. Am I an aspiring high school football star, or am I one of the best quarterbacks in America?
You're one of the best quarterbacks in America.
Oh,
what school in the state of Nebraska are you commuting to or going
commuting to? I was going to say, well, I don't want to commute too far, but
you can't go to Lincoln East. That one's out.
I know I don't want to commute too far because there's a part of me that would like to go. First of all, I'd love to play 8-man. I just think it's a game I don't know a lot about. I think it would showcase my skills. Given my experience on 7-on-7, it's very similar to that, to be honest. And these days, as I hear from people like you, the guys are playing a lot of 7-on-7, I hear. And so 8-man, if I went to 8-man, and I don't know what the closest 8-man team was. I don't know if Parkview Christian.
Are they 8-man? Yeah, they're 8-man.
Okay, I don't know if they existed then in 8-man. They probably didn't. But and then I could have had Larry and Carol Frost coach me, which would have been an experience. And I'm thinking like try and break some like all-time state records. That would be something I might be interested in.
What if you went south of Lincoln to Sterling and you played for the Sterling Jets and their 6-man football team?
6-man, yeah. 7-minute abs. How about, or 8-minute abs? How about 7-minute abs? Sorry, that's something about Mary. I would be interested. Yeah, 6-man. That's a possibility too. And if I have to go, if you're saying you've got to go Class A in Lincoln, and my choice, what year is it? It's my freshman year. Would you say like 1991? So I've got no Southwest.
Yeah, I guess it would have been your senior year. Was
your 95. So I still have no Southwest or North Star. Lincoln Christian hadn't even started the program.
Was Northeast a power at that point?
Everyone was a power except us. Southeast was in the middle of. They were kind of at a slight dip in the middle of the Eric Anderson era and the Barrett Root era. So a little bit of a dip in there. Not much. I mean, again, not compared to us. I think I'm probably going to North. I think I'm probably going to Northeast. Because Southeast, it's nobody gets it anymore, but it's Southeast. It's a different time now. People don't understand. I can't even say these things anymore. Can't even make jokes.
You make your jokes on Twitter about their trophy case for basketball all the time.
Right. I can say as many things about this as Southeast has won state boys Class A basketball championships.
Yeah, so there you go. That still works. That works for you. If for whatever reason people don't understand this this joke, Trey Taylor is going to be playing at Millard South next year. Yes, he of the Chicagoland area. And then Tay Ellis is coming up from Texas. We talked with Tim Verghese about this yesterday. Sounds like there's some more movement afoot. We will see who else.
Oh my gosh!
At Millard South. In Millard schools in general, I think would be the way to phrase it.
Living in Lincoln,
I see. I can't speak to all of that, but
I know. But we know Trey Taylor's living in Lincoln. Driving that far to high school, like, is he really going to get to first period every day?
He says he does a further drive now. I don't know if I believe him, but I've also driven in Chicago, so I kind of believe him.
That sounds terrible, man. Get it. Listen, I don't know if he can flip. I doubt he signed any. If I need to have a talk with him about one of the Lincoln schools, if I need to make a flight out there, have a sit down, maybe tell him, come, I'd be glad to give him a tour of the lunch spots around 70th and A. I could do that. Tell him some of the tips and tricks ordering at Amigos. If needed, I can do this and make a last second flip. The kids these days, they don't make up their minds. Except for him, he seems to make up his mind very decisively, weirdly.
He's opposite of a lot of kids these days in that he is very communicative. He is very out in the open, transparent. Uh, I I salute it. It's
I do
honestly
too.
an easy recruitment to follow.
I sort of, for the reasons I don't like this or not really on his end, which I know you've talked about and other people have talked about. It's kind of on the high school football end of things, which is not, what does he care about that, or why should he care about the competitive balance of Nebraska high school football? But like, I sort of hate this because there is, I think, generally kind of a grown reaction to this whole thing. And like, nothing about him has given me grown reaction before the amount I know, and hearing you and Tim and others talk about him, and like moving up the rankings. It sounds like, it sounds like by the time we get to next year, he could even ascend further. And at some point, this doesn't sound like it'll be that far from signing a Dylan Raiola, the way it sounded like you guys were talking, which is weird. I don't think anyone thinks of it that way.
Yeah, and some of that is just when he initially committed, it was a deal where like, oh, a top 100 quarterback making a decision early. That's pretty cool. And then he had the battle at the Boneyard, and he moved up because of that. I already was talking with some 24/7 sports guys. They're ready to come back for Battle at the Boneyard. That's going to be happening in 2026 again. That event, I think, was really well received by two guys that came out from 24/7 sports, but also just the coaches and people that didn't get involved with it now want to be involved with it. And so Trey Taylor's star kind of took off from there. And then he's been really involved in the peer recruiting and everything else. So it's what you're getting from him that you didn't get from Dylan Raiola. It's all the stuff that you wanted on the front end of it. The peer recruiting relationships, making Nebraska seem like it's cool. What you need from Nebraska is to start winning football games so that can all work hand in hand. And so,
right.
We're
making his job hard.
Honestly, they made their 2027 recruiting harder by just not winning 8 football games. Like, it's just, I know that sounds dumb, but if you can tangibly point to progress and momentum, it's a lot easier to be able to do all of this. But yeah, that's going to be one of those stories that we will certainly be following throughout the spring and the fall. With Tay Ellis and Trey Taylor set to play at Millard South for next year. I want to get into a little bit more football, and then we're going to hit some basketball. And then I have a blind rankings for you that I think you're going to like, but you're going to be very critical of what was chosen in terms of the topics.
That's good to know in advance. You mean my choices?
It's hard to imagine you being
choices,
critical.
You mean?
Yes.
I always say that about you. That's funny.
Yeah. We have such a good relationship.
By the way, Millard South, wait till Lincoln East Show Choir shows up with Harry Styles at the front of for the show choir competition. Yeah, we're ready.
Look at that. We got some show choir trash talk here on Unemployed.
Listen, it's not going to be.
People wonder how I'm doing with this whole thing, and if it's a lot like sports talk radio.
First of all.
No, it's not.
First of all, they can get Ohtani on that baseball roster, and it wouldn't matter. We know what's happening at that. Yeah, I said it.
I think it's going to be hard to pull him away from the Dodgers. I think that's the real competition here.
I don't know. They seem to do well recruiting.
I want to ask you this, because you follow off-season stuff, but you don't like live and die with
Correct.
it.
Good.
I think you
way
follow it now more as part of the I-80 club than you probably ever have before.
Now that we got a great show that is part of the network that I created, it's upping my level of information, and I drop it casually in conversations. Mike Schaefer on Unemployed was talking with Tim Verghese the other day. Am I saying his name right, by the way?
Tim Verghese.
Tim Verghese. I said it right. Yeah. And then I'll drop something that one of you said. And it's a hit at cocktail parties.
Yeah. Tim is the fact that more people are aware of Tim makes me very happy.
Yeah, no, and I am. And it's usually things he said, but since you're the one who's on 5 episodes and your performance is the one that ends up, making me a little money, then I make sure and mention you too. So.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So here's kind of the question that I have for you. And I am genuinely curious what direction you'll go with this. I enjoy it when we have some of these conversations. occasionally you will have a reason to be attached to a player that's
Yes.
specifically and only known to you.
Yeah.
I want you to look at this transfer portal class. I wish I would have sent this over to give you a little bit more time, but I think you can do this on the fly. I want you to look at this class that they brought in, and I want to know who the Jack Mitchell guy is of this transfer portal class. Who are you, with the absence of any real tangible information?
I have very little.
Who are you absolutely throwing all of your support behind as a Jack Mitchell guy? Like, you believe in this. He's going to be a player. And when he does anything, you're going to let everyone know I was on this. I knew this in January.
Okay. That's a great question. And the way that you described it eliminates some options that I probably, might have thought about going with, but you can't really say, I just don't think you can answer Calandria with this question, even though I am excited about him. I am intrigued with the concept of him, I think maybe than most are. And so he would qualify, but I don't think, I'm not going to be the only one though.
Sure.
On that one. The other one, I don't think I can go with, because you just can't really do that with an offensive lineman. But as soon as I heard, and I didn't know a damn thing about him, but when I heard his name was Tree, I was like, yes. What do you need NIL wise? We don't need the huddle tape. It's a yes on this side. Okay. So when that guy,
Tree Babalade, is that your pick?
Yeah, and he's 6'5", 330. Like, I heard his name and his measurables, and I was like, yeah, that's a go. That's absolutely a go for me. So I think now, how about this? But I just don't think I would do that with an offensive lineman. Like, how often are you like, are you bragging about you were on like an offensive lineman that no one else was? It's got to be somebody making play. I am going to go, since I no longer have my previous guy on the team, who that was, Jalen Gramstead. Why was he not playing at the end of the Iowa game? I don't know that I will ever get over that. And again, you say this is a thing only you're concerned about. Me and Jalen's mom are the only ones concerned about that. But
look, I think at the end of the Iowa game, he would have been a welcome change from what we were watching when Nebraska was on offense.
Do we know that they don't win if he plays? Well, we don't know for sure. I am going to go, and I'm going to go back to Iowa then. I love an Iowa guy coming over to Nebraska. That's what I do, bring people from Iowa to Nebraska, slowly bringing them all. And so since Jalen's gone, I will go Will Hawthorne.
Oh, wow. All right. So this is a long-term play, because I'm guessing Will Hawthorne is not necessarily going to be as involved in 2026.
But maybe he will be, because I was right.
But if he shows up on special teams and absolutely sticks a dude on the first kick return of the year or kickoff of the year, you can turn to whoever you're with and be like, I knew this guy was going to be a thing. He's a Jack Mitchell guy.
And he's from Gilbert, Iowa. I don't know if that's in Story County, I think. I don't know. I had a roommate that went to Roland Story and played football for Northwestern College back in the day. Don't know. I like that commonality. I like that connection that we've got. I like the idea of an Iowa State guy doing well here because of my Iowa State in-laws. I think I'm taking Will. I think I will take Will Hawthorne.
All right. We're gonna file this one away. We're going to file this one away.
I'm learning about him now more in the last 8 seconds. I've learned more about him than I knew when I came in. So
it's good. Learning is good. Learning is good for everyone's health. You never want to stop learning.
Yeah. Will Hawthorne.
So before we kind of fully move on from football, would you like to do a Paul Feinbaum style apology to Indiana and Kurt Signetti for all of the things that you said about them?
No, not at all. In fact, I'm doubling down on this. As I suspected, they were going to need some breaks if they could pull it off like they've typically got and continually go back to, what's been it's just been an unbelievable coincidence of flukes and luck. You rarely see anything like it. And I expect obviously next year, probably around 500 for Signetti. Probably should have struck while the iron's hot with a big job. And this was his moment to get out, right? Ask Matt Campbell about that. You got to strike when the iron's hot. So Anyway, we'll see if I'm right. They play Nebraska next year, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, we'll see.
They do.
In Lincoln, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. So Nebraska goes to Oregon, and I want to say they go to Ohio State. I might be off on
I think
that.
we get the schedule the beginning of next week, finally.
Yeah, we will. That'll be next Tuesday. We will have
do a whole show on that. Blow out the I-80 Club.
Wow. Should we do a schedule reaction?
We might, yeah. I bet Caleb
will do a reaction show.
Caleb will do a quick kernel on it for immediate reaction, and then we can do a long form one too. That'd be great. I like that. We can talk through the weekends, what will be going on in our lives, in the community, weather situations, sort of, are we in pumpkin spice season? Are we not? That kind of thing
I think what we do is we immediately do our predictions for 2026 as soon as the schedule is released.
All right. That's good. That's good. I'm telling you, right,
immediately have wins and losses, even scores potentially. We want to game MVPs.
Yeah, that's fine. Yards per carry, that kind of a thing, which I know you'll think is a lot. I'll put one dub on the board right now. I'm calling it right now. Nebraska beats Indiana in 2026.
Wow. What did Will Hawthorne do in that game to put them over the top?
I'm trying to decide if it's a blocked punt with the new great special teams coordinator, that guy. But I don't know. I don't know yet. When the schedule's released, I got to know the weather and like the time of year, and then I'll probably have a better sense of it. But
fair enough.
1 to 2 touchdowns, I would say, for Will.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll revisit that when we do the schedule reaction pod next week. And Jack declining to apologize to Kurt Signetti after all the things that he.
Once he proves it, I'd be glad. But until then, I don't think so.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, we're going to move over to basketball. We're going to spend some time here on basketball. I've got some questions for Jack Mitchell, and just to see kind of where he's at with things. We'll start with this. I mean, I know that on Wednesday when Frager kind of went down, it clouded over the rest of that game. How have you looked back and considered that Nebraska's won its last 3 games by double-digit points over conference teams? But this is the way they're doing this, the utter simplicity and how they make it feel and seem that the game was never in doubt. And we got to spend an entire 90 minutes of real time debating worst case scenarios for the most talked about ankle since Taylor Martinez was playing in 2010 for Nebraska athletics was just sort of remarkable. And meanwhile, they had a 19-point lead that eventually evaporated to a 10-point win that somehow didn't cover the spread. Yes. But just kind of put into words as someone who's watched this program a long time, this utter ease in which they've won some of these conference games that you used to just think hey, if they could just take 2 out of 3 of these, I'd feel pretty good about it.
I said coming into this stretch that started with Oregon, I said, I think if they would go through this period of 4 games and convincingly, let's say I don't know if I said this, but double digits, I think equates to what I was talking about. That would be as impressive to me as maybe anything that they've done. Or it wouldn't, maybe impressive isn't the word, but it would instill more confidence in their ability, especially to do something like maybe get on a little roll at the tournament, that kind of a thing, not lose a first round game, that sort of a thing. And here they are on the verge of doing it. We'll still see on tomorrow, I guess, about that. And I kind of forgot, you make a good point, because were you at the game?
No, I was watching on TV,
I was too. Yeah.
Immediately when he went down and then the way he got up and started running, I was on heightened alert almost immediately, because he just didn't look like, his body language was terrible. Right in that moment, and then he didn't want to cut on it. He didn't want to run on it. And then of course, Nebraska's stuck in this loop of where there's no clock stoppage. So he's just having to play through this for an additional 3.5 minutes. Nebraska calls that timeout, and I'm convinced they called it because they knew they needed to get Frager off the court. But yeah, I mean, from that point forward, I was like, this does not feel good. I am concerned. And then, of course, you get the shots on the sidelines when he returns. You have Fred sort of, deadpan commentary, which you expect with everything, but it just made it feel even worse in the moment of when he's doing it. And then it ends up being, it's an ankle sprain. The amount of games that he might miss is still very much up in the air. But I went from oh man, are we going to lose a guy who's really kind of, I wouldn't, it's interesting you'd rank the players, and maybe there's something I'll have you do. I don't know that he'd be in the top 3, but he's also somehow has to be in the top 3 because he's so valuable in what he's doing. I mean, it's just he's really hard to quantify like how valuable he is, but it's really important to this whole operation.
This is a exercise I don't enjoy thinking about, but how many players would you be more upset if they lost for an extended period? I think
Sanford, Mast,
and Sam. How about?
I think so.
I think
I'd
Sam.
be upset for Jamarcus Lawrence because of what he's meant to this team. Since
Same thing, but like in terms of your outlook,
I think we get to the 4th spot and it's Frager.
Probably, and maybe you could argue 3. I think so. He probably is 3 or 4, probably 4. I think in my rankings, which is interesting. That's not really how I treated it. Or
Yeah,
how
you don't really want to think about it.
But you're right. Like I don't talking about like not really thinking of the games or talking about the games now. I don't really remember anything that happened in the second half of that game. Like my mind was not, not there, focusing on that game. So I had I didn't come out of it like feeling good or bad or really anything about how the team ended up playing through the rest of it. And you're right. Like you saw him come out there. I was listening to the competitor show that you're on that we're not going to name because they're a direct competitor to the I-80 Club, even though the company behind it's employed me there for almost 20 years. But anyway, I heard, and your unnamed co-host was saying, well, people should know a walking boot is normal. This is not a big deal. This happens. It wasn't the walking boot. It was his eyes that just looked like he had watched beaches. It was terrible.
Well, it's a towel over the head.
I didn't even know or care if he was walking. It was his emotions and his demeanor and his body language is what it was. That was what it looked like. He had just gotten terrible news or watched Old Yeller or both at the same time. And I like that. He looked. Now, the interesting thing we realized during the post-game show that night, where I went through a range of emotions to finally having everyone talk me down off the ledge by the end of it, but I had the same experience. I don't know if you remember. You remember when Juwan Gary 2 years ago got hurt at Rutgers? Yeah. And the way he reacted to it in the moment? And I was sure he tore his Achilles or something. I think he was back in 6 days. It looked like his reaction was terrible. I think he had emotion, like he was crying. And I mean, I'll probably cry if Nebraska beats Minnesota by 12. So I'm not blaming anyone for crying in an emotional moment, but it's just odd that we had 2 of these situations where before it was really for sure that it was terrible. They got very emotional about it. And then, And then I'm looking up injuries, like how long basketball players have historically been out for different types of ankle sprains. And I almost am a doctor now, based on the research that I've done. I'm a few steps away after my residency being able to do ankle surgery. But like the best case scenario is like a grade 1 ankle sprain. That's still in basketball, like a week or 2. And you go up to 2 or a high ankle sprain. And my son had a high ankle sprain his junior year in high school basketball. It kept him out 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, no, high ankle sprains are no joke. Those are
not for Patrick Mahomes. He just needs a quarter to take a break and he can come back in. But so I'm prepared. Best case scenario, 2 weeks. Worst case scenario, if he's not out for the season, is the entire regular season. And then Fred comes out yesterday. And I still want more info, by the way. I don't have enough info on that. I don't know if there's any more today. And he says day to day. What?
Yeah, I think it's some gamesmanship. I'm not looking for him in the Minnesota game. No, honestly, I'm of the mindset, like, in my perfect world, he's back healthy. There's no, like rust or repercussions of it playing in the Illinois game. I've already written him off being in Minnesota and Michigan. Yeah, and so if he's back playing against Illinois, to me, that's the best case scenario.
I kind of agree with that. That sounds. And this is based on nothing but the words Dave.
Yeah, no, I've got no inside information.
And then it just turns in from oh man, this is going to change their season to kind of a vanity project. Like, I kind of wanted them to have a shot at beating Michigan. And who freaking knows at this point, even? Because you go back and you think about it. I was in Sioux Falls at that Oklahoma game. Frager played, I think, like 6-7 minutes in that game. Very little in that game. And they were offensively as good as they've been all year.
Yeah, I mean, as the comment from Josh,
just
here,
what Josh said there in the comment,
the Illinois game. I mean, so it's part of it is that he had just seemed like he was coming on strong.
Yes.
And so, you don't want to lose the momentum of how he was playing. I think also this injury, and we'll see how they respond with it, will show you just how strong this team is built. Like, they have different guys that can step into these things and can step up and can play in different ways as needed as they're adjusting to either foul trouble or injuries or inconsistency or off nights. I mean, the crazy thing about Sanford is that he's on this run right now in these last handful of games, but then you go back and it's like they beat Michigan State and he had like 11 points.
Yeah.
And, so they in the stretch against Indiana and Ohio State, he was solid, but he wasn't amazing. And now he's on this heater, and it's like, man, if Sanford's scoring 20 points a night, they're going to be tough to beat. Meanwhile, Rink Mast is just, there's going to be the game where Rink Mast hits 7 threes, and he's just laying in wait to have it.
He's due to have a huge game. Yeah.
It's just this is what makes this team so much fun, is that Jamarcus Lawrence goes and has his moment against Indiana, and then Sanford's on a 3-week heater or three game heater. Frager is casually dropping 20 points in 2 of those games. Mast is only having to play a total of 37 minutes in one critical week in January. Like, they have so much ability to adjust who they are and how they're playing offensively, and different guys can step into different moments. It just makes them such a better team because of it. They're so deep. There's not an easy way to just sort of remove a piece of it and then have the whole thing fall apart. Now, you don't have Burke for your offensive rebounding. That's going to make it, or your rebounding in total, that's going to make it hard. Long stretches without Rink Mast makes your offense worse because of how valuable he is as an off-ball player or even just a passer. But, if Cale Jacobson and Garcia have to step up against Minnesota, I don't think Nebraska is going to drop off a ton because of that. Now, the Michigan game is different. You want to have a guy like Frager. I mean, what Frager brings
that game specifically, yes.
Yeah, in terms of getting to the hoop, in terms of just having the goldfish memory of, I brick that, don't care, I'm in my spot, I got the ball, I'm letting it fly, cash, we're running back on defense. The fact that he's kind of this dogged competitor that pisses everybody off that he goes up against. Like, those are the things that are going to be hard to replace. Mm-hmm. But I think just being able to get good performances from everybody else, it's kind of what this team is. It's kind of what makes them special.
That's what we've said. How many times have we said it? Not because of injuries, but because you can have 2 guys who have off nights and it doesn't really change a whole lot. For Frager, I think it was just that, like you said, he looked to be on just a really rapid ascension. I think it was the moment at the end of the Ohio State game when he got those 2 and 1s at the end of the Ohio State game. That was when he sort of changed a little bit. And then I guess was that the last of that group of 3 games? Or was Indiana after that? No. Yeah. And then he had Oregon. And the way that he and Price were going off of each other in those last 2 games was, I mean, it's hard to believe at 17-0, you're like, this team might be getting better.
Yeah.
So crazy.
There was a moment in the game on Wednesday where it's a 10-point game and you're not feeling the best because Frager's out and it's been a little bit clumsy on offense. And then bam, Sanford 3, bam, Rink Mast 3, 16-point game. God. And you're like, oh, these guys are just good. That's what this is. These guys are good.
They need 2 minutes to make up double digits, 2 to 3 minutes to make up double digits in any game. And they've done it. They've got almost every game they've gone on a run like that with a net of 10 points over that period. Real quick, this comment in the Discord is hilarious for Sam. I assume it was serious, but he said we need to find a way to be 22-2 or better after the next 5 games. It's just like taking those words, taking people's comments about this team out of context and sending them to the past. It would be such a trip. If they don't get to 22-2, it's going to be
I was going to let you decide whether you wanted to go to the blind rankings right now, or I have this hypothetical that we discussed on that unnamed show that I think you would love to have
Okay, let's do the
opinions on.
hypothetical. Let's save the
Okay.
rankings for the end.
So this is built off of the idea that in my mind, if Nebraska goes 3-0 in their next 3 games, when those rankings come out after the Illinois game, there is no way in the world they wouldn't be the number 1 team in college basketball.
I think if Arizona,
I don't care. Nebraska's resume is better.
That's the only one I would ask the question about. The rest of them, I agree. They'll leapfrog Michigan, obviously. And then there may be losses in there
Nobody
too. But even
would
if
be
none
on
of
the
them lost,
planet with their quad 1 wins.
I don't know if
point in time.
There's no respect. No respect. I'm so tired of it.
If you go back to back against Michigan and Illinois, and you're undefeated, and you're 22-0, you're going to be number 1 in the country.
Mike, are they for real?
I think they're for real. I think
see.
This is the basketball equivalent of Isaiah Roby knows how good he is.
I know in your scenario they've beaten Michigan and Illinois, Illinois twice, once on the road, but let's see what happens when they see some athletic teams.
Well, famously Big Ten teams not very athletic,
let's
we know.
See. I guess. And Arizona plays, I think, at BYU tomorrow.
They play the same day or the day before. Nebraska plays Michigan, I think.
Do you know what my favorite scenario is to think about? And unfortunately, the polls don't quite make this work out. But so the Michigan game's on Tuesday, the Illinois game's on Sunday. And then the poll would come out Monday as we're having fun with this hypothetical. And let's say Nebraska, which I know you don't believe, but let's say Nebraska needed some of the teams, at least Arizona and UConn, perhaps, to lose for them to get that chance. You know what UConn's game, maybe I told you this already, UConn's game on January 31st, that Saturday is?
Creighton, isn't it?
At Creighton.
Yeah.
What a weird, I'm wondering Creighton's going to throw the game.
Throw the game.
I mean, it's hard to tell sometimes with them, to be honest, but
it is. It very much is. Right, so that wasn't even the hypothetical. So what I was working to was this. All right, and this is the first one that I posed, and then someone added a third element. And so I'm going to start with the first two. Let's say no matter what, regardless of how this goes, Nebraska wins their first game in the NCAA tournament. So that's already on the board. You already know that happens. So that's going to happen no matter what. Which of these two would mean more to you in the story of this season or the story of this program? Nebraska getting that number 1 ranking in college basketball, or Nebraska wins the Big Ten tournament?
Man. I think I know the answer, but then I start to say it and I pull back for a second.
I'll tell you mine so you can have some more time to think about it.
Okay, go ahead.
And if people want to weigh in on this, would happy to have their thoughts. For me, it is the Big Ten tournament because I have no memories of them winning the Big 8. I don't, they did it. It doesn't mean anything to me. But I have many, many memories of Nebraska basketball teams losing in the Big 12, having a 1 or 2 day window win or whatever it was. They played Kansas, I want to say, in 2007, where Sasha Khan was just allowed to throw somebody into a chair and didn't get called for a foul for it because that's just what Kansas gets away with because they're still the most hateable team in America. I don't care. For me, it would be the winning the tournament. Like the other year, fun to say it like that. The other year when they're playing Illinois and they're up double digits and I'm letting my mind wander about how they're about to face, they could get Wisconsin in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament. Nebraska could win the Big Ten title. For some reason, this means a lot to me for Nebraska to win the Big Ten tournament title. Now, the number 1 ranking is insane. The program has never been higher than where they are currently. You would be the only team in the state of Nebraska to ever be ranked number 1. So you could say that for potentially forever. So that would be sort of the argument there. But for me, it's the tournament title. I really value that in the story of this season, knowing also in this scenario that they're winning the first round game. So that's coming off the board too.
Yeah. After thinking about it, I would say I agree with you. for me.
Now,
And I understand people might. I think it's close though, but I think I would go with you.
and so this comment kind of gets to what I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah,
there's a woefully short
that's.
amount of banners in that building. I want banners. I wanted a crown championship banner, and they didn't do it.
I mean, and
So,
I don't remember who's won. I mean, the last the Big Ten tournaments since Nebraska's been in there. It's not all of the teams, but like, it also just is it's going to be really hard when someone is blue bloodier than Nebraska, and that's everyone in the Big Ten, and they're throwing, they can't go to the let's see your trophy case anymore, right? You take that away. It's easier to counter, and here I am thinking of Twitter fights and how I'll work this into it, as only I do. It's harder to work there's an easier counter to they were number one for 1 or 2 weeks or whatever it is.
My unnamed co-host said it's the number one, and he gave his whole reasons or whatever. And then someone came back with, well, what about this option? Not the tournament, not number one. Would you take Nebraska outright winning the conference over everything?
Just in the regular season?
Yes.
See, like, to me, that's that's the biggest accomplishment almost of any of them.
If they win the one, they're a 1 seed. If they win the Big Ten, they're going to be a 1 seed.
Yeah.
And so you have that. If you win the Big Ten, like, that's say what you will about the Big Ten tournament, like, that's over a series of days and involves, somewhat of a streak of luck. If you
conference
win the
tournaments are weird. Yeah.
Right. If you win the Big Ten title, that has to be like the next biggest thing that they could do besides finally getting this tournament win.
The other two things, winning a conference outright or even getting number one, is much harder to do in a fluky way, right? I thought there was an outside chance they were going to win the Big Ten tournament when they played with 6 guys in Chicago and Tim Miles last year. So, like, for a while,
they had that Wisconsin team on the ropes a little bit, but I'm sure Brad officiating got away with
Ethan Happ. Oh, that guy.
Oh, that was a Happ year.
Yeah. No, that was Ethan Happ. No, they closed out Davison's career was closed out at Wisconsin by the McGowan's brothers. Although Trey was not in the game because he got ejected.
Was he on his scooter?
No, but he injured. Who was that? He injured for Wisconsin, right? Johnny, what's his name from Wisconsin in that game? He got kicked out of it, and then
that was like Bryce had a monster game. They won like late, right?
It was senior night there. I don't even think it was that close at the end. It might have been. And then Trey McGowan's is sitting in the locker room, having been kicked off, holding his phone, waiting them for it to get in the locker room so he can record. I love the McGowan's brothers. I want the McGowan's brothers there. Trey, Bryce, get there. Bryce, ask for a game off if you need to. Get there. You need to be there in hopefully Oklahoma City. But yeah, that's a decent point. You're pulling me back a little bit now. You're pulling me back. And the other thing, if they went and won a Big Ten tournament the whole time, I'd be a little, this is stupid, I'd be a little nervous as they win games of the Big Ten tournament. They're playing on that
Sunday. They're wasting the games that they could be using in the NCAA tournament.
They're wasting it. And there's this thing that some teams that are really good don't even give full effort in their conference tournaments, because a lot of teams that win their tournament, not always, but can struggle on a short turnaround from that.
This is not something that Nebraska has had to think about a lot, but you hear people from the committee talk about how little value they put on tournament wins. And so your seed line is pretty much already set by the time that tournament begins. So for some teams, there's not a lot of emphasis for it because you're not going to change where you are.
That said, when they release the 1 seeds or the bracket show 15 minutes after that game ends, and Nebraska gets to be the team in the shot in their locker room, not out of their uniforms yet.
Chills.
Oh, I literally got goosebumps. I mean, I literally got goosebumps.
It's been a big week for goosebumps. Did you enjoy the final 20 minutes of the podcast with Chris Bassnett the other day?
Yeah, yes, but now
mortality.
Well, here's the thing. It feels like he put more work on me. I feel like on his behalf, I cannot actually die if I go to the NCAA tournament, because he will feel terrible. Like, that would go viral and. Like, so that, yeah, I mean, yes. So
you do not want to have a Jack Mitchell death reaction show on the I-80 Club. I'll tell you that much.
No. I really don't want that to happen on his behalf, and I guess mine too. But yes. But by the way, he was great. That was fun. Get him on more.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. We will make that happen. All right, let's do some blind rankings. We are going to go to a category that I think you're very excited about, but I'm worried that you are going to hate the choices that you get to rank. This category speaks to the heart of Jack Mitchell. It is something he thinks about all the time when he's at the worst grocery store in all of Lincoln, and that is what music is playing and what songs are out there. And so I thought to myself, how am I going to put together a list of categories? Am I just going to go stand in the grocery store and write down everything that plays? And no, I didn't do that. I went to the internet and I looked for lists, playlists, and then looked for like songs that were popping up across multiple of them. Looked at like articles people wrote about the music that's played in grocery
You
stores.
could have used my playlist. I have curated over a period of a decade the playlist from that store. It's got over 120 songs.
I did not, and these
I'll share the link.
None of these 5 are even going to be on there. You're going to be mad about it.
Share the link in the Discord if people want to listen to it.
All right,
go ahead. All right, I like
Here we
this
go.
one.
We're starting at number 1. I believe I have this person's name correct. The song is "She's So High."
Oh, I am also going to check and see if these are on my list, just out of curiosity. She's So High. Well, I think through She's So High, I'm going to go see if it's on my list, having actually heard it. Let's see. She's So High. No, nothing in between Shake Your Love by Debbie Gibson and Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow. But still, it's a good one. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure I could have and did have heard it. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. It's not a deep enough of a cut. The era is right, but maybe even a little late to really hit it. Man, I don't want to go 5 yet and play a 5 at the very beginning.
Yeah, I don't think you. I'll just tell you now. I don't know if you want to go 5 because some of these are going to weave in that era too.
I've never heard you give advice on this before. BC's like, where was that when he ranked something 4?
This is more difficult for me though, because this is like,
but
you have a very
subjectivity.
You have a very specific era of time that you're thinking of.
You don't know what I think. 4, fine, 4. You talked me out of it. I better not be pissed I didn't put it at 5 though. That's on you.
Well, where have all the Cowboys gone?
Oh God, that's a great one compared to that. Little deeper cut.
Follicle.
Little deeper cut. Little earlier. Kind of a weird song. Kind of weird. But now judging on what you said that I wouldn't like your choices. I think that's a great choice. So I'm going to again take your advice against my the things that I don't know what word I'm looking for. Number 2. Number 2.
All right. We're going to go with a song
Better
from
judgment.
Group I think. Len, Steal My Sunshine.
1.
Okay, look at that.
1.
Are these on your list as well?
I forgot to look those up. I know where have all the Cowboys gone. I'm almost sure is on there.
That feels like that plays, I would say.
Yep, there it is.
Every other visit.
In between Where It's At by Beck and When Smokey Sings by ABC. And then Steal My Sunshine is on here between Stay by Lisa Loeb and Sussudio by Phil Collins.
Definitely thought about I looked at several Phil Collins songs.
You should have.
I thought about Stay as well, and I did not.
I mean, you could have given me 5 Howard Jones songs and it would have worked, but nonetheless.
See, this is the one that I don't think fits in the parameters, but I have definitely heard it in Hy-Vees across the state, and that is Hanging by a Moment from Lifehouse.
Yeah. Again, feels too... I kind of group it a little bit with She's So High. Yeah, I feel comfortable putting that at 5. Again, it doesn't feel niche-y enough to me. It doesn't feel novelty-ish enough to me. Hanging by a Moment was, I want to say early aughts. It starts to be
like 2001.
Yeah, early right? Yeah, probably. In fact, let's see if I bet I do have that one in here, but let me see. Hanging by a Moment. Hold, please.
It plays. I feel like this amongst these songs, I feel like it plays a lot, but it also seems like one that you'd be least interested in.
I do not have it on here. It would go between Good Thing by the Fine Young Cannibals and Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears. No, I'm good giving that a 5. I think
Tears for Fears.
Yeah. Listen, if you give me the right, I am going to have potentially the first perfect top 5 and it's by
What
my
do you have
judgment.
left? You have 3 left, right?
3 is it.
Yep.
I
All right,
feel like
well,
I'm gonna. We'll see.
here's going at number 3. Come to my window, Melissa Etheridge.
Oh, that's 3 is probably right for it. I think a 3 is not. I mean, it trends toward lower. It trends towards 4, but I still feel a little better about it. Older, pretty mainstream, but older. Yeah, I think that goes right. I think if you had given me, I wish we could have alternate. You could bifurcate our life like some kind of severed situation, and you could do one. I could bring on my severed guy, and then he would rank. He would just get him, and he would rank him, and then you'd see what I put him on. Because I think my severed guy would agree with what I ended up with this one.
Okay.
Somebody said
All right.
6 for come to my way. Yeah, I don't. And by the way, I don't necessarily. I mean, part of it is whether I like the song. That's part of it, but that's not all of it. It's about hitting the uniqueness of the genre at that high V.
Okay. That was our blind rankings from today. There wasn't as much feedback. I didn't do a great job soliciting the feedback as much as I have in other weeks. We did get, and this has been kind of the feedback that I have been receiving. This is an email I received from Brett, and he said, just started listening to the new podcast. I'm in the process of catching up with your first episodes. I'm to the point where you now have a job. Congratulations. Thinking about the podcast name. My suggestion, don't change the title. Just change your vocal inflection to a question. Unemployed?
Who put a question mark on the teleprompter?
Unemployed?
We could just put a question mark behind it. Yeah. I don't mind that idea from Brad. That's good. Thanks for listening, Brad. Appreciate it.
Anyway, I'm enjoying the show, so keep up the good work. But I did like that. It's like unemployed. Is that where we want to go?
Yeah, unemployed. Yeah.
That kind of concludes the portion of the feedback that I actually have here from.
That's fine. Not much
from the people. And we did get started a little bit late, and so this is the shortest of the Jack Mitchell episodes.
I go
only
long.
47 minutes, but look, I think the basketball hypotheticals and the blind ranking were everything that people could have wanted out of this show.
Remember the first episode? And I know this is only the third we've done total, but I thought, what didn't we do something where there's 3 things that I'm supposed to say? I'm can't remember what the name of it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I can do it quickly if you still want me to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was prepared. Okay.
3 things that annoy you in this moment.
3 things that are annoying you this week. Yes. Number 1. We'll do the sports one first. I'm not going to be able to handle people evaluating, critiquing the way I react to things happen with Nebraska basketball. The Frager thing about don't tell me I'm overreacting. Don't tell me I get to, my reaction is mine. Your reaction is yours. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you the way you're reacting is inappropriate unless you're doing it in my living room. This is going to be a problem going forward and on both sides of the spectrum. If I want to freak completely out because of that Frager looked like he was crying, I will. Okay. I've earned, and this whole fan base has earned it. And we get it within the group. We leave each other room to react how we will. There's going to be some unreasonable things. You might as well just accept it because it's going to be happening for a while, folks, on both ends of the spectrum. Okay. So if you don't like it, stay away from me. Stay away from us. Number 1. Number 2, AirTags. I am a chronic loser of my keys and wallet. It's terrible. Every morning, and inside a chair that I was sitting in, right? In the bathroom for no reason, all kinds of places. Both of them. I can't get out the door. I use spare keys all the time. Just can't find my keys. Bought AirPads Air tags. Got a wallet do I have it with me? Yeah, I got a. Look at this. I got a wallet. That's got one of those in it. I don't think I have my keys on me. They're in my coat. I got a keychain that holds one. So I'm like, never going to lose these again. Okay. The other day, as oft happens with me, something fell out of my pockets when I'm wearing like sweatpants in the car into the nether regions of the car. That terrible, terrible area, the gap,
The crevice.
the crevice between the chair and the console. And then it also includes everything underneath your seats and all of the little nooks and crannies, of which there are very, very many down there. Okay. And I was like, not to worry. I've prepared for this situation. So I get out my iPhone and beep, beep, beep. Okay. You make it beep. You make it beep. The sound that they have these AirTags make, and maybe I can make it here while I'm telling the story. I swear, and it's unbelievable that they did this with AirTags, given their purpose. I swear it is designed to like confuse you in terms of it sounds like it's unbelievable. The exact opposite purpose why you would ever have it. Like, okay, here, listen. All right, this should be playing a sound here momentarily. And I could not, every time I move to it, listen to it changes volumes.
Yeah.
The
Well, the speed up at the end makes it seem like it's counting down.
It should just go until you turn it off. But instead, it's giving you like radar interference. It's scrambling jets. I don't know what. And so I will get any part of my car. I'm like, now it's over there. Now it's over here. Now it's on the ceiling. Like all over. It's ridiculous.
So it's like the smoke alarm noise in the house at the dead of night. You have no idea which room it is.
Same thing. That's a great comp, right? And again, and that's the little, or when it has the one single chirp when it's low on battery. You ever had that? Yeah, that's probably what you're talking about. And so it's not going off constantly. And every time you hear it, you've got to, it's like the dollar bill game at the Flora Devaney Center. It's like you get a little bit of input and then you've got to take it for a while. Then you got to reassess the input and go for a while. Last one. What are we doing with variety packs? What are we doing? And there are a few different products, but your inability to get in some situations, now it's not all. The best example I can have that I think of is in, don't make fun of me, but like in hard seltzers, okay? You get hard seltzers. If you get, like, for instance, like Truly, okay? If you like one flavor of that, you can't get it. And this is true of other combo packs and other foods and drink, not even just alcoholic drinks. That was just the one I thought of because I recently bought some of these. You can't, like, we like the citrus. There's like a citrus one. It's great. But in every freaking one, they've got to put something that's the equivalent of grapefruit in it that no one is buying. I swear they make crappy. They force you to get crappy kinds of things because of stupid variety packs. What is the business incentive to do it this way? Is it cost less to make the grapefruit? Do you have just a big extra supply of those and you've got to get rid of them? I will never understand that. Give me a full 12 pack or give me a full bag of little chips, right? Oh, we got to have 4 Doritos and 4 Cheetos and, no offense, but like 2 Funyuns, 2 barbecue chips, and then 1 chili cheese Frito. No! 1, just the one. I want all that. That should be an option in every sort of multi-purchase situation, and it's just not. It's just like the energy drinks you get at Sam's, right? Same thing. There's none that's got the 30-pack of all. You find one good flavor of something of a new school product. Good luck. You've got to work through the crappy flavors, and then I start like consuming them in the opposite order. Like to get to the best part at the end, always. So I'm out on variety packs.
So because I rarely ever end up having to purchase these things and have them at my house, like if I end up in that scenario, it's because I'm buying them somewhere. But what invariably happens is everyone agrees usually what the worst flavors are.
Always.
And so then you're like, oh, can I get one of these? And they're like, oh yeah, we have it. This is what we have left. And for me, it's always watermelon, and I never want watermelon. And so, because nobody ever seems to want watermelon.
See, that's great. That's, although they don't have grapefruit in the one that I was thinking of, but I've had that before in other drinks or other things. It's just, I don't, and you're right. It's usually pretty objectively clear which ones the market wants. It feels
I want pineapple.
It
I
feels
want
intentional.
Orange.
Yeah.
I want the lemonade flavor. I don't want watermelon.
Why in every other business decision that is made in the consumer food and drinks industry is it made based on clear supply and demand? But variety packs, we throw that out the window. We got to give someone something shitty to get something good.
There's a comment here.
Buy more if it's all good stuff.
There's a comment here in the YouTube suggesting that you just go to someone's house for a party, take those, and then you just leave them there.
I mean, I do that. Yes. there are random there are random bags of like like I don't want to say something like barbecue Lays. I'm here for the Doritos when I get those things. Okay, let's be clear.
You can bring the Lays. I'll take the barbecue Lays.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
I
don't want the Funyuns. You can give those to somebody else.
I'm trying to think. I wasn't prepared with other examples of this, but they seem to come up a lot. So those are the best ones: small chips and seltzers.
My wife has like very specific flavors of the candy that she wants. So if she's eating Starburst, she's never having the yellow Starburst. Or if there's like a variety of
That's another good example. I guess there's an old school version of that.
Yeah. So there's like a variety of those. They're kind of like Tootsie Rolls, but they're like fruit flavored ones. But there's a vanilla flavor that she doesn't want. And so she like has this bag. And then by the end of it, all that's left are just all of the blue ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know what the other example, old school example is. Remember those candy bar packs that they used to, the Hershey's ones that people would get for Halloween's? They had Hershey's, Mr. Goodbar, Crackle, and Special Dark. And I appreciate
my favorite candy combination in the world is those. Like, you can just give me a bag of those miniatures. I love it.
You say all are equally good?
I will eat all of them.
As a kid, the Specialty Dark, I felt this as a child with those two. The Specialty Dark are garbage.
I'm a fan. I can roll.
I like it now as I've matured.
I understand why other people wouldn't,
but they don't do this. They don't do this with anything else. They don't like. It's not like here's one row of Bud Light, one row of Bud Light Lime, one row of Bud Heavy, or like one of Coke Zero, one of Sprite, one of regular Coke, which actually might be useful if you could nail it down when you've got a party or a family that likes all of those things. But they don't mix it in most of those things though.
Yeah.
There are very few scenarios where they do, but in a few of them, that's the only way they do it. It's baffling.
And we were worried about having a shorter show today. And
good.
The things that annoyed
better than that from me.
Look, I love it.
Early.
Should bring this. Well, normally we would start on time, but I had some things that got in the way. Look, everyone, appreciate it. You made it through another week of Unemployed with Mike Schaefer, or Unemployed?
Unemployed? San
Diego?
Diego?
We'll look into that. Thank you for the email. Brett, if you would like to get on the show with your thoughts and comments, feel free to email at unemployedi80@gmail.com. Join the Discord, and you can mix it up with Jack. You can tell him he's overreacting. You can insult him if you want to. I do that from time to time. Or you can just talk to him like a nice, normal human being, which lots of people choose to do on the I-80 Discord. So check that out in the top left of the screen. You want to get involved with that. Or you could just join us here on YouTube. We'll be back on Monday at noon. Caleb Henry. We're going to be giving out free advice. We're going to be talking about undefeated 20-0 Nebraska. We're going to be talking about their ranking, I'm sure, at some point. Football will have some sort of story that'll pop up. I had wanted to bring up some other stuff football related. Didn't get to it today, but that's okay. It's a basketball time right now. The portal is closed. We're focused on the team that's dominating.
I'm not going to tell you how to run your show, but it might be time to put in a second full basketball day in the old lineup pretty soon.
Look into it. Good looking. This kind of operates like that in a lot of ways too.
That's true.
So, all right. We'll catch everybody next week. See you on Monday.
See ya.